Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. Any leadership that teaches you to depend upon another race is a leadership that will enslave you. They gave leadership to our foreparents, and that leadership made them slaves. But we have decided to find a leadership of our own to make ourselves free men. Our great scholars have advanced through the colleges and universities, have thrown away the blessed record. Babylon did it. Assyria did it. France under Napoleon did it. Germany under Prince von Bismarck did it. England under America under George Washington did it. Africa with 400 million black people can do it. If you cannot do it, if you are not prepared to do it, then you will die. You race of cowards, you race of imbeciles, you race of good for nothing. If you cannot do what other men have done, what other nations have done, what other races have done, then you have to die.
P called me last week, well, or the week before, but we've been talking about this for a few days now. We were and have been aware of the used clothes phenomenon in Ghana. We saw it ourselves when it was just probably getting off the ground. But Sister P called me recently to say, listen to this. Have you seen this? Have you heard this? This is what is happening in Ghana on a large scale. It is frightening in a way. We're going to be trying to understand this phenomenon that has overtaken our people on the continent of Africa. And this is not to stand in judgment, because we have a very similar situation unfolding right here in Jamaica and wherever we are as African peoples. If it's not used clothes, then it's plastic. If it's not plastic, then it's cheaper Chinese goods. If it's not cheaper Chinese goods, then it is just an influx of other people's stuff from other places. And then we've got to ask ourselves, is this our lot? Is this it then? So that Obruni Wawo, dead white man's clothes. That's what it means, dead white man's clothes. A phenomenon that has overtaken our brothers and sisters in Ghana in particular. Ghana has become the biggest importer of dead white man's clothes, used clothes, from underwear to outerwear and anything in between. And how is this impacting? A few things. One, the cloth manufacturing sector in Ghana, which was a really big industry. Two, as by extrapolation, Ghana's economy, local economy. Three, how Ghanaians are now presenting in clothes in terms of dress, clothes. Traditional wear, the pride of Ghana, kente cloth. So we're going to be talking to the program director at Radio Gold FM in Ghana, Primary, about this phenomenon, which seems to have latched its vicious claws into not just the Ghanaian economy, but the Ghanaian people. So later on in the program, we go to Ghana to talk about Obruni Wawo, dead white man's clothes. Also in the program this morning, Stepping High Festival. Stepping High Festival is on this year. We're going to be talking to Setu Simeon about this. It's going to be happening right here on the ground in Jamaica. So we'll hear some more about that. Also joining me live in the studio this morning, members of the craft market industry here in Jamaica, especially those concerned with the Harbour Street craft market. So the national president of a craft market association and president of a Harbour Street craft market association, Melody Horton, will be joining me in the studio along with Errol Lewis, Winsome Thompson, Michael Adams, and Michael Kent. The Harbour Street craft market vendors have grave concerns about exclusion and injustice. They join me live in the studio this morning to talk about those concerns and to voice their opinions as to where they see this going, to give their advice as to what should be done, but also to ensure that they air these grievances in this space. Sometimes it is important to facilitate a space for African Jamaicans, especially in the face of harsh competition from not just foreign goods, not just foreign traders, but in a situation where it seems as if the state has not and is not adequately cushioning the blow that competition brings to local businesses. So the national president of a craft market association here in Jamaica and president of a Harbour Street craft market in St. James in Montego Bay, Melody Horton, is live in the studio with members of a Harbour Street craft market. We've been talking about the community of Woodside and the fact that the Jamaica National Heritage Trust is now set to announce plans for the upcoming declaration of 4 sites in Woodside as protected national heritage. That is the Woodside, Rock Spring, all of that area. And Dr. Nana Erna Brodba will be joining me on the phone lines to talk to us about an upcoming event that is scheduled for Tuesday, January 13, in Woodside, St. Mary. We know the Africa Cup of Nations just getting ready to kick off. Let's see what we can do on that this morning, if anything. Standing by to hear from my colleague Roger Haspel regarding that. Also this morning, concerns about our beaches, access to beaches, and especially what's happening in Negril, in Montego Bay, but across Jamaica. And once more, Mr. Desmond Malcolm, who's the general manager of the UDC, will be joining me on the phone lines to talk about that quickly. We hope to also include in this morning's program the bottom line. Sometimes we do get to a point where we are not able to because of time, but let's see what happens this morning. Once again, thank you so much for joining us inside of the program, the Africa Forum, Running African. We're going through until 10 o'clock. That's when the Big A comes in with the Sunday Sunshine. My broadcast assistant this morning is Shamara Preston. Thank you so much, Shamara. And as I said before, we're going to go through until 6 o'clock? Sorry, 10 o'clock. Until 10 o'clock. by Boko Haram has taken place in Nigeria. We'll talk about that a little more in the program. We're also looking back to go forward at Haiti and the earthquake of January 12, 2010.
Bringing back home to Soweto. I want to see him walking down the streets.
I understand that there is also another a bomb it's a girl bomber this time in Nigeria. A girl bomber attacks market. At least 19 people are killed and several injured by a bomb reported to be strapped to a girl aged about 10 in northeastern Nigeria. The BBC is reporting the age of the approximate age of the young girl. Whatever is happening in Nigeria, it's a question we're all asking. How come Boko Haram in Nigeria? And many of us do not have the answers to that. But we know elections are coming up, and some of the commentators and the Pan-Africanists in Nigeria have been looking at this and asking questions also about whether it is that Nigeria, the government, has received permission from Boko Haram to go ahead with the elections. The dynamics, the political dynamics, the intrigue, it's something we're going to have to stop and look at again. Look closely again at Nigeria. On Friday, Amnesty International released a report about a recent series of attacks by Boko Haram that killed hundreds, if not thousands, of people in Nigeria. According to Daniel Era, the author of the Amnesty report, the terror group's raids on Baga, a border town near Chad, may constitute the group's deadliest act yet. It reports that the town was largely razed to the ground and that hundreds or even as many as 2,000 civilians were killed. And this marks, it says, a disturbing and bloody escalation of Boko Haram's ongoing onslaught against the civilian population in Nigeria. They say there are too many to count, that there are bodies in the bushes and bodies everywhere, but there are too many to count. The massacre carried out by Boko Haram in Nigeria this past Friday. And then we're hearing again about a bomb strapped onto a girl aged about 10, according to the BBC, in the northeastern region. And this is just such terrible news coming out of Nigeria this morning. There are speculations as to whether or not Boko Haram has wiped out entire towns. 16 towns outside of Baga, which a group reportedly emptied of its 10,000 residents. We also understand that a large number of people who were crossing the Lake Chad, that a large number reportedly drowned. So Boko Haram has launched fresh attacks that have killed hundreds, thousands now. 10,000 people alone last year were reported to have been killed by Boko Haram, and now the numbers, they're up in the ante. The raids continue, even as President Goodluck Jonathan his campaign is for the February 14 election is well underway. He's been criticized for his handling of Boko Haram and the Boko Haram offensive. But we're going to be looking at this closely once again. Reliable information regarding what's happening in Nigeria, not so easy to come by. And but we're on top of that. It is such a distressing bit of information coming out of Nigeria. The chaos that has been wrought in large part by Boko Haram. And Boko Haram has said that its aim is to establish an Islamic State on the continent of Africa. And is it that this Islamic State on the continent of Africa, that's Boko Haram's idea, that this is Nigeria? So we see the kidnapping of hundreds of girls and hundreds of boys and men and women, and thousands are being kidnapped, thousands are being killed. In Paris, 17 killed, and 40 world leaders are heading to Paris in just a few minutes for a large rally. I don't even know what it is that we're asking, because we must take care of our own business. But it's the world's response to what has happened in Paris as opposed to what's going on in Nigeria. What's the difference then, you ask, between Nigeria and Paris? I recall studying journalism in Europe, and one of the questions, as a matter of fact, I asked a question, but really and truly it was part of a course. It was such a blatant part of a course that it's part of a hidden agenda, but it was pretty blatant. And one of the things, and I've talked about that in this space before, that when you're reporting, especially from the European perspective, that when you're reporting on ongoing situations on the continent of Africa, for example, that it becomes very clear that Europe reports on these situations as far as these situations and these events impact Europeans who are on the continent of Africa. And so one of the questions that I've been asking, and I've asked time and time again, is how many black lives does it take to make one European life, one white life? And we saw from a situation in Sierra Leone, for example, because I remember covering that in Europe, that ongoing, remember that situation in Sierra Leone, the big flare-up and the coup and Laurent Gbagbo, and that it became very clear, because you were told that, the France was coming in and they were taking out their citizens. And you, as a black journalist, as an African journalist, were told that you had to report the story from this angle. From the angle that identifies or exposes what's happening with the European, regardless of how many Africans are dying around you. And so it seemed to me, and this is my own calculation, that it takes about 5,000 African lives to make one white life. And test this, because how many young girls have been kidnapped by Boko Haram over the last few months? How many have died? How many have killed? What do we know about this 10-year-old girl who had a bomb strapped on to her by terrorists, creating havoc in a market in Nigeria? Entire towns have been decimated and devastated by Boko Haram. Same Islamic militants. What do you know about that? What are you seeing about that on your television screens? What are you hearing about that on the radio? What are you hearing about the 2,000 who were killed on Friday in Nigeria by Boko Haram? Is it that their lives do not matter? And how much do you know about the 17 that were killed in France? Because it's a very same Islamic situation, Islamic militants, put it that way, the same terrorist situation. And I know we don't want to say Islam is a terrorist organization, so don't call me on that, because that's not what I'm saying. But I'm saying it's the very same kind of terrorism then, in terms of those persons who are using the religion to wreak havoc across the continent of Africa. What do we know about the thousands who have died in Lake Chad? What do we know about the thousands who have drowned in Lake Chad? What do we know about the thousands who are massacred in Nigeria? And how much do we know about the 17 that were killed in Paris? If it is that we're going to have to take a side, we're going to have to take a side. All right, we've been talking to you about stepping high. And I'm playing music from South Africa this morning. You're going to be hearing quite a bit of music from South Africa, because the ANC is now celebrating its 103rd anniversary. It's 103rd anniversary. The ANC is 103 years old. And so it's interesting because we're looking at that. We're looking at that. We'll talk about that later on. So you'll be hearing more music from South Africa. Going to be talking about Stepping High and the Stepping High Festival. Give me a moment. All right, so Stepping High Festival is on, and on the phone lines we've got Mr. Setu Simeon. How are you, Setu? Good morning.
Good morning, Andrew. How are you?
I am well. You know, I know a Setu. Are you the same Setu that I know a different Setu?
No, probably. Well, we met sometime last year, actually.
Oh, okay. All right. All right. I thought it was a Setu for my community. I'm saying, wait, when Setu involved in this? All right. But anyway, good to have you on the program. Stepping High, a cultural event with a unique offering. This is what we've been told. This is what we know. And we have not said much about it this morning, but as I'm waiting on you to tell us exactly what the Stepping High Festival is, but to say, first of all, that we will be there. And when we say we mean IRFM and we mean Running African. But first of all, now tell me, what is the Stepping High Festival?
Well, Stepping High, first of all, Stepping High began really as we just had a little impromptu send-off for some friends from the States that were returning, you know, and they were lovers of Jamaican culture, Rasta culture, and cannabis, one aspect of Rasta culture. So, you know, everybody would, you know, their friends here would bring a little sample of things for them to enjoy, a last lick, so to speak, for them to return to America. You know, and they returned, and we did the same thing every time they went back. They were going back. So after a while, it kind of evolved into what the people in Negril call the Ganja party. And from there to the Stepping High Festival. Now, initially, you know, because of the legal ramifications, we just spread news about the festival by word of mouth. And last year was the first time we advertised it through IRFM, you know, which was a pioneering effort, and we got the word out, and the response was very favorable, and, you know, people still talking about it, and we decided that we had to take it to another level, you know. So the festival really, it's promoting cannabis, the use of cannabis, the benefits of cannabis, and at the same time it's bringing people together in a forum, and that, you know, we can discuss this. You know, I hear what you're saying, and you know, for short we call it the Herbs Fest, the Herbs Festival. Just in case people are wondering what it is we're talking about. I hear what you're saying, and you know, for short we call it the Herbs Fest, the Herbs Festival. Just in case people are wondering what it is we're talking about. I can understand the constraints that you've had over the years in terms of, you know, talking about the festival itself because of the everything that was being that was put on display, put it that way. But what is different this year in terms of your ability to even do this interview and to talk about cannabis as being part of this, a big part, if you ask me, of a Stepping High Festival? Well, globally, you know, when you look around the globe, you see that people have taken a different perspective on cannabis, on ganja worldwide. You know, you see in America you have, I think all 50 states now are going to legalize medical marijuana. You know, we see what's going on in Uruguay, in South America.
Right, and even here on the ground in Jamaica, we quite a few conferences, and nobody shies away from saying, "Well, this is a ganja conference."
No, and we are listening to our Minister of Justice and our Minister of National Security, and we know that over the years, especially Rasta have been persecuted, for use of ganja. You know, we talk about the Coral Garden massacre and all that. You know, part of is really ganja was the cause of that. And then we come and we see what happened recently with Mario Dean, where somebody would get lose their life just for a spliff. You know, so
yes.
So and now we hear the move towards legalization. We have it decriminalized now, and the move towards legalization now. Last year, the minister, Mr. Golding, had promised that by March, they would resolve some of the issues.
Right, so it is now, so contextualizing the Stepping High Festival in 2015, I think is very important, because it's been running for a while. How many years now?
We have been doing this 12 years now.
Right.
It has been an underground event, because of the legal aspects of things, the status of ganja. And recently, I think it's December, November, Minister Golden, he said they would fast track, before they were looking at a March deadline, and now they're planning to fast track things, and we might have, by the end of the month, we might have legalized ganja in Jamaica.
Is there, and I know it's been stepping high, is there... do you have constraints placed on you in terms of how you can talk about the festival, what you can call it? And I like Stepping High, but I also like Herbs Festival.
Yes.
So are you not allowed to say it's a Herbs Fest?
No,
okay.
No, because we have some flyers out now, and the heading, the title, is 12th annual Stepping High Ganja Festival. And some people think it's a little bit harsh when you use the word ganja. Cannabis sounds a little bit more refined. And academic.
Say it, stop it.
Yeah, but no, when you say ganja, no, ganja is a Jamaican.
It's too harsh.
And just like Bob Marley and reggae, when in those, it's a Jamaican product, and it is not supposed to be up to the standard.
So cannabis will not shock anybody's sensibilities, but ganja carries a whole lot of, and that's why ganja is good for the thing. All right, so it is the Stepping High Ganja Festival.
Ganja Fest.
Herbs Fest that's happening down there in Negril.
Yes.
All right. So did you have to get a special license to do this, or?
Well, we got a permit for the first time from the constabulary.
The festival itself, the festival attracts visitors from all over the world. It's been going on for 12 years. People do know about this.
Yes.
Right.
People have been coming. It's 12 years, so you kind of build up a little following.
Yes.
After all of that time. And we have had up to 1,500 people just by word of mouth. And when I say word of mouth, usually it's the day before that we let people know about the event, that it's going to happen.
And I must congratulate you on this and you on the team, because really, word of mouth marketing, this is an example of how it can be done, because you've been doing it for many, many, many years. Here now, though, taking it to the wider community and saying we're inviting you to be part of the of
the community here in Negril. We have they support it. Because Stepping High, as you said, Stepping High brings in a lot of people, a lot of tourists here, a lot of Jamaicans here, people from Kingston all over the island. They come in, and So it brings in a little cash into the Negril community. Everybody is supported. The hotels are supported, even down just a little corner shop. You know, and initially Step and I was a free event.
I really do like the way that, you know, that the team has handled the festival over the years, and the fact that you've really tapped into a niche market, and that visitors come in from all over the world, especially for this. All kinds of visitors. Nice caliber, in between caliber and round the caliber. So really nice,
Yeah, and it go across, you know, you have rich people, low income people.
Yes.
Everybody is there, black, white, purple, blue.
Yeah.
You know,
it's really a nice vibe. It is what do you call it now? Woodstock.
Well,
It's Woodstock in Jamaica.
The theme for this event. Last year we had the reggae evolution. That was the theme, and the theme for this year is oneness.
All right.
You know, and we are celebrating the fact that the ganja can bring people from all different diverse walks of life, you know, in together in one unity.
Yes, and Negril is a good place for that. When is it going to happen this year?
Well, it's going to be March the 7th and 8th, and you know, on the 7th we're going to have a stage show. We're going to have an exhibition of, you know, some of the finest strains, ganja strains in Jamaica. And on the Sunday morning, we have the Running Africa program with you. Yeah,
we're broadcasting live from there on the second day, Sunday morning, but we're down there for the 2 days.
Yes.
Right. So Saturday. So Saturday is the exhibition of the vast range of herbs in Jamaica. And is it all ganja or is it herbs?
No, we're inviting at least other roots people that deal with holistic and herbal culture, you know. So it's not just ganja.
Right. It's a proper herbs festival. Yes. And I think I don't know of any other herbs festival in the world. So I think really Jamaica has something going on here.
Yeah. Well, we are boasting that we are the longest running, well, we said ganja festival in Jamaica and probably in the Caribbean, you know.
Yes, I think most definitely so. All right, so it is March 7 and March 8 this year, and it's happening in Negril. Where in Negril?
It's happening at Cayenne Beach, Negril. That's on Norman Manley Boulevard. That's the main beach strip. Yeah, right. And I just want to mention also that the future growers and producers, you know, of Jamaica, the association, they have come aboard and they are a part of this event, you know.
Okay, brilliant.
So we're kind of double teaming the whole effort this year.
It sounds very good, and of course, as we said before, it's 2 days, March 7, March 8. March 7 an exhibition, and you talk about a stage show. Tell us about that stage show.
All right, there'll be a stage show on the 7th, and we are having artists such as Bunny Whalers. We have Iwayne on the lineup. We have local artists here. We have like Pompey Judah, Touch a Gold. We have a few local artists here that will be performing, and on Sunday evening now, we're going to just settle down everything with one of them old school style dance party, you know.
Wow, it sounds good.
Like Isla with, you know, and some other DJs.
And you know, say to me, I plan to leave there Sunday afternoon, but it look like it's Monday morning before we leave. So,
we're operating within the constraints of the law, you know.
Yes.
So whatever we're going to follow their lead in regard to that aspect.
I understand totally. All right, so once again, we'll hear much more from you as time goes by. We're just to put this on the calendar, because the calendar full from February 1, you know, Dennis Brown's birthday, all the way back to March 7 and 8, and then beyond. So that there's a whole lot. So write this down on your calendar. The Stepping High cultural event, the Stepping High Herbs Festival. It's happening in Negril, March 7 and 8.
And you can say Ganja Festival.
Me coming like Herbs Festival. You see me just like Herbs Festival. Like Stepping High Ganja Festival. Yeah. Herbs man hustling.
That sounds very, complacent.
Yes. So Stepping High Ganja Fest is happening down there in Negril. We love what we're hearing. It contributes in a large way to the economy. It contributes to the especially to the local industry. And you talk about tourism. You talk about small businesses. You talk about small business operators. And of course, we like the fact it's happening on the beach. Is the beach open and free to everybody? I mean,
all right,
okay.
You can walk up and down on the beach. There's no restraint.
All right. Is there a chance for persons to come in on the night of the stage show or for any part of this?
Yes, there's we're gonna have a $2,000 admission at the pre-sold, and $2,500 at the gate.
Is that for the 2 days?
That's per day. Because, because of we have the artists and we have to kind of compensate for the whole production.
Okay. All right. So we'll talk much more about this as time goes by. Just write the dates down. March 7, March 8, Stepping High Ganja Festival in Negril. And we're going to be there. We're broadcasting live from there, the Africa Forum, on the morning of March 8. But we're there for the 2 days. Thank you so much, Setu Simeon.
You're welcome.
All right. Give thanks, my brother. 9 minutes now after 7 o'clock, and we're going to be talking to the members of the Harbour Street Craft Market in Montego Bay in a little while. As a matter of fact, in a minute or so. Unfolds. We're standing by now to speak to Melody Horton, National President of the Craft Market Association, President of the Harbour Street Craft Market, also the team from the Harbour Street Craft Market who have joined me live here at IRFM. That's coming up in just a moment. This week, we are remembering the earthquake in Haiti, January 12, 2010. That will be, the anniversary is actually tomorrow. And then we're also looking back at the earthquake of 1907, Monday, January 14, 1907. It was a regular day, sunny and hot, with a cloudless sky, and what was said to be a faint breeze. And as Rebecca Tortilla tells us, at 3:32 p.m., the city of Kingston was busy enough. All was alive and well. Suddenly there came the sound of a rushing mighty wind, followed by the sound of a train roaring in a tunnel, and the violent shaking of the earth, so that men and buildings were tossed about like puppets. Screams, she said, split the air. This is from her research. Within 10 to 20 seconds, a town of 46,000 had been rendered immobile. Hundreds lay dead or dying, buried beneath mounds of rubble and dust. By 3:33 p.m., 3 shocks had been felt, and every building in Kingston sustained some damage. Many in the lower part of the city were destroyed. We're talking about the earthquake of 1907. Accounts of this catastrophe by Sir Frederick Treves and W. Ralph Hall Kane, both published in 1908, report solid brick walls bulging and collapsing, carriages being lifted and flung through the air, telegraph poles swaying like leaves in the wind, and great structures, whether made of iron, wood, or stone, crumbling. People were simply picked up and tossed while struggling to maintain their balance. More often than not, they ended up resembling flailing pawns in an overturned chess game. And it's very colorful language, but it is describing the earthquake. According to W. Ralph Hall Kane, who observed much of the devastation from the Port Kingston, the ship on which he had sailed to the West Indies with numerous English businessmen, planters, and parliamentarians. The sky was brilliant, a brilliant constellation of glorious lights. The waters over which we passed, dark and awesome, rendered all the more forbidding by the human flotsam and jetsam, from which I must shut my eyes, floating idly on its surface for a ruined city. Days later, Kingston resembled a ghost town, empty, silent, dark, and broken. £2 million of damage was assessed, and over 800 people lost their lives. And that happened in 1907, February 14, 1907. All right, and we're also recalling the earthquake of January 12 in Haiti. And sometimes when it gets to this time of year and we're thinking about, the anniversary of earthquakes, we tend to ask ourselves, how prepared are we? How ready are we? So just reacquaint yourselves with what you know about earthquake. Do some quick readings, since January seems to be a time of earthquakes anyway. Reacquaint yourselves with the knowledge that you already have on earthquakes. So remembering the 1907 earthquake, Monday, January 14, 1907, and the 2010 earthquake, and that, of course, was in Haiti, January 12, today, of course, being January 11. All right. All right, so we're joined in the studio and we welcome the members of the Harbour Street Craft Market from Montego Bay. Melody Horton is here along with her team. We're going to talk to them right after this.
Running African. Reuniting the African family for development.
All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum, Running African, and to our friends on Twitter, thank you so much for your comments. Dennis Jones says, no need to look at how Europe deals with Nigeria. How many Jamaican deaths does it take for us to be really concerned? Blessings. Very good point from Dennis Jones. Also, Darren Asha, hearing about you're going to be there for 2 days. Darren, you should join us in Negril, by the way. He says that broadcast is going to be a very high one. And Irie Daughter, thanks so much for your tweet. And you said, Hotep, Cabo, Happy New Year, etc. Thank you so much for listening for all those years. Michael Edwards, you are trying to send me a message and we're not able to get to that. By the way, you can follow me on Twitter at Cabo Maat Keru, KABU, We go now to my very special guests in the studio, coming in all the way from Montego Bay. I'm so very happy that you could make it. Thank you so much for coming in.
You're welcome.
Melody, what time did you leave Montego Bay?
5 o'clock.
Oh, man, yeah. But, thanks. How are the roads, by the way? They're not so bad.
No, not so bad. A few potholes.
Come on later, come on, I hear you. Yes.
A few potholes, but nothing that we can't live with.
All right, so who drove?
Mr. Kent.
Is you the man in the maids. All right, thank you so much for coming in. So we have in the studio Melody Horton you're the national president.
Correct.
For the Craft Markets. Is it the Craft Market Association?
Craft Traders and Producers Association.
All right. And Michael Kent, you are?
No, I'm Errol Lewis.
Okay, so where's Mr. Kent?
There are no.
All right, so it's Michael Kent who drove, yes. And Errol Lewis. And you are?
I'm a member of the association.
All right. And who else do we have?
You have Winsome Boyne.
Winsome?
You have Winsome Boyne.
Right.
Member of the association.
All right. Thank you so much for coming in. They have joined us in the studio this morning because, of course, there are concerns at Harbour Street Craft Market. For those who do not know, where is the Harbour Street Craft Market, Melody?
It's in Montego Bay, between the Howard Cook Highway and the Harbour Street.
All right. And what happens there? The craft market caters to tourists, locals?
Yes, it caters to locals and tourists.
How many people are housed there?
254 vendors and 2-person store shops. You approximately 500 persons.
Mm-hmm. So, Mr. Lewis, if you were to say, describe the Harbour Street Craft Market, is it different from any other craft market in Jamaica in terms of what is offered?
Oh, most certainly. It is very diverse. We offer a lot of cultural things, happenings, events, and real fine art, excellent fine art, mm-hmm. and a great environment for anyone to come in and relax and shop freely.
Mm-hmm. All right. I'm yet to visit that, and one of the things I'm going to do in the process of looking at the situation that is unfolding there is also to visit the Harbour Street Craft Market. All right. Let's talk then, Melody, about the main concerns. How long has it been in operation?
The Harbour Street is 38 years.
That's a long time.
Yeah.
Right. Has it grown? Is it that it has developed over the years? You've seen that it has
Yes.
grown, more shops added, more people coming in?
No more shops added.
Okay.
But it has built that way from the beginning. But it has come a long way.
What is the main concern there right now?
The main concern there is the treatment handed down to us by the landlord, which is the St. James Parish Council. Right now, we have to say thanks to TEF, who took the need to refurbish the shops. For years we have been suffering our goods damaged and lost, and TEF saw the need and repaired the shops there. And
TEF is a tourism enhancement fund?
Right. We're very grateful to the minister who came and looked at it and recommend TEF to repair the shops.
And when was that done?
The project actually started 3 years ago when phase 1 was done, but we had some concern about phase 1 because we still suffer leaks and drainage problem. But they went on to stage 2 9 months ago when they asked the traders to make the shops available for them to repair. But they told us this project would last 4 months. So persons went home not earning. Some persons came to the first half of the market that was done before and put up a little tent so they can continue earn, because it's very rough in these times to go out of business for 4 months without having an opportunity to earn. So we were there, and believe you me, when the project was about to start, we were invited to a meeting at TPD office in Montego Bay, and we were told that we would be involved in the development of what is happening there. In fact, we should be invited to site meetings. But we realized that from that day until the project is now finished, we have never been invited. Nobody told us anything what is going on, even after.
All right, hold on a minute. All right, so the repairs were done to the craft market.
Yes.
In 2 phases.
Yes.
Phase 1, you were still there.
Yes.
Right? And phase 2, you had to vacate the shops?
No, the same. When phase 1 was done, we shifted to the section that was not repaired as yet.
Okay.
So phase 1 was finished.
Right.
After phase 1 finished, and they're going to do phase 2, those vendors at that end shift to phase 1.
Right. So people are still there. The vendors are still in the shops.
They're completed now,
right,
and the vendors move back into their shops.
All right. And so they were out for 4 months?
9 months.
For 9 months?
Yes. We were told 4 months, and the project overrun to 9 months without anybody saying anything to us. We, in fact, went to the resort chairman, Mr. Bloomfield. Is a very welcoming gentleman who, on our behalf, seek the relevant authority to find out, to say something to us when would we go back in our shops, because the little makeshift tents that were there, the goods were destroyed, and it was really uncomfortable. And so he relayed back to us that in another 2 weeks or so the shops would be handed over so the vendors can go back. The executive chairman of TPD came himself, and a representative from TEF came and asked us to all strain a little more and let the work complete. And the vendors held strain for 9 months. Now the shops were completed. The boarding, the fencing that was around it was removed, and the shops were there empty. And nobody came to say anything to the traders, just the same.
That is after the work was done?
Yes, after
So the shops were standing there empty?
Yes.
And no meeting. What is the situation now with the shops, Mr. Lewis?
Well, people have decided to move back into the shops.
People have decided?
Yes.
You mean that people just take it upon themselves and say, oh, the shop then done and a band no call, we could go back?
Right.
Well, yes, because the fencing was removed, so they were in, like Melody just said, a total discomfort. Some of the tents were being cut up, and so goods were stolen and exposed and so on. And so people decided they're going to move back in to the shops. And
That
now,
is without any formal word from the parish council?
really without any formal word
Okay.
from the parish council. But now the parish council is, giving directives for them to move back out of the shops.
Why?
Because they said they did not formally release or approve of the shops
Okay.
after the contractor finished. So
So how long did it take between the contractor finishing the shops and people moving into the shops?
a little over a week, a little over a week, close to 2 weeks. But like I said, the shops were sitting there and the fence were removed, so people felt it was okay to get back in, so they moved back in. And as a result, now I understand that come Monday, the parish council wants everybody back out of it. So
That's tomorrow?
That's tomorrow.
Not only the recently done section, but the entire market. We were told by His Worship, the Mayor of Montego Bay, that we should make all the shops.
Who's the Mayor?
Glendon Harris.
Oh, Mr. Harris, yes.
Yes. That all of us should come out and they would padlock the shops, and we have to sign a contract to get back the shops. So even we are so very fearful, because even the deputy mayor came there with one of his persons that run in his area to get 2 shops for them. So the vendors are very, very fearful, and the contract that they have, it's a one-sided thing. And
Have you seen the contract?
yes, we have seen the contract, and
What is
we
the
have brought it to our legal advisor. And
Yes.
because it's not a contract that can, for example, Andrea, the Albert Street Craft Market has been sitting there and the business is being piloted elsewhere. If the visitors come in by here, when they're ready to shop, they're taken to shops at Rose Hall. If they comes in by the cruise ship, when they're ready to shop, they're taken to shops at Rose Hall. Now the craft market is left empty. On any given day you can come there. I don't know how the vendors survive. It's just the mercy of God that they survive there, because somebody is really not facing the on to settle this problem that has been existing over the years. The craft markets are left behind. What we really see happening here in Jamaica is that we who farm the craft industry, our parents work and build it, right now we are being left out because somebody realized that the craft is a gold mine. And if you listen and watch, everywhere that is being built right now is opening up somewhere that sells craft.
All right. I'm going to take a quick break and come back. This is an interesting situation that is developing in Montego Bay. It's more than developing now. It looks like it's boiling over, because here you're talking about craft traders given a directive to leave their shops by tomorrow. We'll take a quick break. We'll be right back.
Running African. Reuniting the African family for development.
All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum, Running African, and in the studio with me, my very special guests from craft traders from the Harbour Street Craft Market in Montego Bay, facing eviction notices right now and other concerns. You were telling me, Melody, before we went into the break, of the other concerns that you have, because we're going to come back to the fact that you have an eviction notice hanging over your head for tomorrow. But in the meantime, you're saying that how the craft market has functioned over the years is that tourists would come in. People come in will come to the craft market. But in recent times, if people come in by the air, they are shuttled to Rose Hall. If they come in by the sea, them still shuttled to Rose Hall. So how does that affect the craft market?
Well, if the craft market gets no business, you understand that we hardly, you'll hear a landlord saying that we're owing rent, or other children can't go to school, you can't keep up with the obligations. You're forced to be somebody who you don't want to be. You understand? And I am sure that nobody there's want to owe any rent, or the JPA should come and disconnect them, or whatever. You know?
Are people there now owing rent? Oh, sorry, remind me of your name. Is it
We are the ones
Winsome?
that make,
Is that Winsome? No?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Winsome, yes. Yeah, go ahead, Winsome.
we are the one that make craft, right? And we're supposed to get the benefit of it. The Indians are the one that getting the benefit. Nobody recognizes us.
And this is a cry across Jamaica.
Across all the craft sites in Jamaica, we're suffering the same fate.
Let's get back to the eviction notice. In other words, have you been told that you must move out by tomorrow?
Yes, we should move out of the shops by tomorrow. In fact, we were told that over 300 padlocks were bought to close the shops, and the keys will be handed to the commercial services manager. And if we don't sign the contract, we can't get back the shop.
All right, so let us talk about the contract. Now, what are the main concerns of the contract?
The main concern of the contract is that they're saying 3 months. If you're owing 3 months rent, you're going to be immediately repossessed. Your shops will be immediately repossessed. No, if you look at
a situation where
the business doesn't come to the market,
shuttled away. Yes.
Just recently, the Civic Center was renovated and done beautifully, right? And we could hear our landlord, His Worship, emphasizing that the visitors should go to the Civic Center. And right now, the Civic Center even opened a gift shop that is a craft market.
The Civic Center?
Yes.
Open a gift shop that is a craft market.
Right.
Right. So that's obvious, yeah.
And our landlord, we have never heard him on our behalf say to the powers that be, the craft market need to be supported.
What do you think is going on here? Okay, one, the contract is saying if you owe 3 months rent in an environment that is the way it is, that you automatically dispossess of the house. Of the shops. Do you think there's something else happening here?
Certainly.
What is it?
We were told publicly by a former Chamber of Commerce president that if we don't give up that expensive piece of land that we are housed on, we are going to remain there and suck salt through wooden spoon. And no doubt that we have been sucking a lot of salt. Because season comes and season goes, and all the craft traders receive is salt.
So 38 years that the craft market has been in that area.
Yes, ma'am.
But with development happening around Montego Bay, in and around Montego Bay, and everybody coming in from where they're coming in, the land that you now occupy become prime land.
Yes, ma'am.
So do you think that they're trying to drive you off?
Exactly so. What will they do with 254 shops if we decide not to sign a contract that is not pleasing to us? Or will they place there? Because if you put Bill Gates there under that condition, he's going to go broke.
What would you like to see happen? If you were to speak to the mayor, what would you say to the mayor?
I have asked the mayor even to let us, the association, operate the place on our own, because we certainly would do a better job. The restroom for us, it's deplorable. And we have been meeting with these folks. We have a drain that runs through the market, Andrea. Nobody should inhale anything like that. And we have been complaining and complaining about these stuff, and nothing has been done about it.
They want you to leave tomorrow. For what reason, Mr. Lewis?
Because we don't sign a contract.
Because you don't sign a contract?
Yes.
All right. So you can't stay and sign you don't want to sign the contract. You're not signing that contract.
No.
Do you have a representation to say, let us look at this again? I mean, who's representing the craft market, the traders?
We were given 2 options by the mayor. Either we take the market and run it on our own, which the contract would automatically phase away.
Right.
And we indicated to them that we are willing to do so.
So what is the problem with that?
And that was brushed aside. And we were only informed that tomorrow we should make the shops available, take our goods out. And after they come there, they are going to close them with padlocks, put us out of our shops that we have been operating for 38 years. Close it with padlocks because we don't sign a contract. A contract must be agreed by 2 parties.
You see,
a contract can be only for the St. James Parish Council.
And I hear you say, that the you've been given two options. And I hear you call the mayor your landlord. But the mayor is really part of the state, you know, and the state is the trustee that holding the thing in trust for we and we children.
Exactly.
So it seems to me, though, as if there's some antagonism, as if there's or maybe a misunderstanding of the role of the parish council. Right, so let me ask you, I mean, on the parish council's part, let me ask you this. When you said to the mayor, all right, you've given us two options and we'll take the option of running the thing for ourselves, running the craft market for ourselves, you're saying that option immediately came off the table?
Immediately, they reply by saying, you won't get the car park. There's a car park adjoining to the craft market. You won't get the car park if this is done. And then they talk amongst themselves. That's the secretary, the commercial service manager, Miss Marsh, the superintendent of the council, the deputy mayor and the mayor. They commune amongst themselves, and then when they came back, it wasn't an item on the table anymore for us to take it.
So they took that off the table?
Off the table.
Mr. Lewis, what are you going to do tomorrow?
Well, tomorrow we're going to wait to see what they do. And we're listening to the advice of our legal counsel. And he's asking us not to do anything, just to sit, wait, and watch and see what happens. And then, depending on what they do, if they really do, in fact, come and padlock those shops, then, you know, we will take it to the other lever, the legal lever, because we know that it is illegal for them to do such a thing, to put locks on our doors without due process. I would think that they would have to have a court order for them to do that. So we're intending to take the legal route, and if that fails, then we probably will want to take to the streets and demonstrate, so we can get the attention of the higher heads, the minister.
Talk about getting the attention. Have you tried to get the attention, Melody, of the minister? Who have you been talking to outside of the mayor?
We spoke to the resort board. We have sent an email to the minister, the minister's office. We didn't get any reply. And unfortunately, we normally get responses from the minister, but we have sent an email to his office, so we have not gotten a reply. So we are going to resend that email again, and if we don't get an answer, then we'll use the telephone or visit his office.
To me, there's a whole lot going on here, and I hear everything that you're saying. One, you know, this is prime land, and so it is. You know, are you not good enough for the craft market?
Craft has grown away from the local folks. Craft now belongs to persons who are upscale. So, and we are on a very valuable piece of land. So we are nobodies now, so we are going to be pushed aside. But I want to remind somebody that it's not going to go smoothly. They have to look for disruption, and I must speak the truth. This is not about Melody or the rest of the group that is here. It's about 500 lives, 500 families that are going to be affected. And remember that we build the craft industry, ma'am. In the days when everybody run away from Jamaica, saying that it's communist, we wrote on basket, come to Jamaica. Jamaica, no problem. And Jamaica has returned as a stalwart in tourism. Why shouldn't the local folks benefit?
And Jamaica is literally now slapping these very same traders in the faces. And what's interesting about this is that the competition that you now face from the Indian... Unfair competition, because we're seeing that everywhere. We're seeing that in Ocho-Rios. We're seeing that across Jamaica. So we know that is a given. So that there's hardly any protection for local goods, for local craft, and for local traders. I am concerned that as a mayor responded to you in any other way apart from just get out of there. Is that it? I mean, or how long as a process?
That was his final word to us. And believe me, other executive members were there. asking, let us revisit, let us look, and that's his final word. He then asked the deputy mayor what was his take on it. The deputy mayor said, whatever you're doing, I am with you.
That's it.
The deputy mayor even go as far as to say a sign should be erected there that no visitor should go there.
Really?
He then asked, what if fire should take? He was just singing a fire song. What if fire should take the shops? What if fire should take the shop now? Who would be responsible for it?
Because there's no contract signed?
Because there's no contract signed.
All right. Is it that you're against signing a contract, or is it is the way this particular contract is phrased? Is it this particular contract that you have a problem with?
The particular contract we have a problem.
And the main thing you have a problem with in the contract is a part of it that says 3 months rent, are you out? If you owe 3 months rent, you're out. So why is it so difficult to get that out? Why is that a sticking point? What would you prefer?
Because that's the catch. That's the catch.
What would you prefer? Would you want to take that out altogether, or and replace it with what? If you owe how many months rent?
What we're saying,
rent included
what we're saying, the parish council is complaining that we're owing rent.
Right.
The real problem that we're saying to our landlord, the mayor of Montego Bay, who heads one of the transportation center recently as president of JCAL Tours, who moves the guests also. Sir, the problem is not with us not paying the rent, you know. The problem is that the visitors are not coming into the craft market.
All right, so it's a stalemate, because if you're shuttling the visitors somewhere else, then obviously
we're automatically going to be at this stage.
Wow. What do we do now? Who is Dr. Upton Blake? Do you know Dr. Upton Blake?
No.
Okay, Dr. Upton Blake is on the line. All right, give me some more information on Dr. Upton Blake, please. All right, we craft market also, so we'd like to hear what he's saying. But all right, so let me get something straight here. Have you had this conversation with the mayor that, all right, this is our problem? The visitors, when they come, whether by air or sea, are being shuttled somewhere else, and they're bypassing the craft market. How can you change that scenario? Ensure that when the visitors come off the boats, come off the ships, when they come off the air, that they are also taken to the Harbour Street Craft Market. Have you had that conversation with the mayor?
Over and over.
And what does the mayor say?
He said that we have to take up our own fate. We have to go out and look business on our own. That's not his job.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Lewis?
Yeah, that's pretty much the sentiment.
Yes, my heart is really paining for the craft traders, and not just in the Harbour Street, because we get this every day from craft traders across Jamaica. But especially now, because your situation is what it is. Winsome, what are you going to do?
We are treated with no respect from the mayor. We have treated with no respect from the mayor, because when we tell him that we need business, he even call us flip-flop.
What I mean?
That's what we want to find out.
That's what we want to find out. What's that mean?
We have been even the traders are told by the superintendent that you're following fools. You're letting fool lead you. That's the way they want to deal with us. They're not showing any respect for the traders or us. They undermine us as if we are inferior, and they don't want to see us sitting before them, and that's the attitude.
Talk to the minister. What would you want to say to the minister? Talk to the minister right here.
Minister McNeil, you know our problem. We have placed it before you. When you were not minister, when your government was not in, you visited us and you see our plight. It is not new to you. And if we remain in this situation, we are going to be worse off. So we are asking you to intervene, because you see, whatever is going to be happening at Harbour Street, it will affect Jamaica. And we are asking you to save Jamaica.
Mr. Lewis? Talk to the minister, because this is a place where we can talk to them. Talk to them. Talk to the minister.
Mr. Minister, thousands of lives depend on our business. The carvers, the people who make basketry, all the people who supply us with the craft to sell there depend on the business. Our families, all our friends depend on it. So it's not just the few vendors, the 254 vendors that's in the craft market. It's thousands and thousands of people who depend on our business for their livelihood. So I'm asking you to come forth and help us out of this plight. We need your help. We need your advice. And we need to find or to forge a way forward so that everybody benefits from it.
And some?
Mr. Minister, there are so many lawyers, doctors that come from the Arbor Street Craft Market. You need to look out for the poor. Help us to benefit from the market, please.
And I would like to add again, as Winston just reminded me, even into the government offices, if you should do a survey, there's a lot of craft trader children who is serving in good position. Imagine if we got a better opportunity, what our children would be in this land.
And that is what I'm thinking, you see, because you talk about 250 odd traders in the craft market, and if you just simply at the most conservative figure multiply that by 2, which is husband or wife and a child, then you know that you're triple that already. And so my contention is on this. There must be another way to work this out, Mr. Mayor, and there must be a way to work it out with the people in mind, because that you're the mayor domo. That's how your name comes from. Look it up. The mayor domo, or major domo, as some people call it. There is a reason why you're there, and you're there. Your main interest should be the people, not the rush for foreign direct investment, because I think the problem that we have in Jamaica is that too many of our local representatives are buying into this idea that if the Indians come in, and this is not xenophobia, but we have to put it on the table, if the Indians come in, if China come in, then they must get the preference, and they must, especially when it comes to craft, and we have been seeing this 1990, the station started, and we saw that happening here in Ocho Rios, little by little by little. We spoke about it for years on end, and now we are reaping the fruit of those ill-advised decisions that were taken in terms of how the local representatives, the members of parliament, deal with craft traders as opposed to those persons who are coming in to make millions and millions of craft that are made not by hand, but in somewhere in China or somewhere else. So that the unfair competition that our craft traders are facing is already a problem. What are you going to do now, Mr. Mayor, is a question we're asking you. Here the craft vendors, the traders have come into IRFM. This is their last resort. They have tried everything. They could have been here before. This is their last resort because they have been told now that they have to vacate by tomorrow. There must be a way to settle this without chasing people away from their livelihoods. There must be another way to settle this without depriving 254 families of their livelihoods. Go ahead, Winsome.
What I would love to ask, Minister, who is responsible for the shipping of the import the goods that Jamaica and it that the Indians are importing,
and those coming from China? Who is responsible for getting them here? You're saying, or they come through customs? Who give the go ahead for that?
We would like
and that
to
is
know
part of the
who is
unfair
giving that
yeah. So you're saying that because you're getting unfair competition right there, too?
Yeah.
Because the craft that you make here on the ground.
Now suffer because our producers now are showing up their tools because what is coming in, they can't compete with those price.
The factory made cheaper price.
But a survey was recently done in the cruise industry because the visitors are going to the other island and seeing the sameness of craft, and now they are concerned about it. So even though the quality of the craft that they're selling to, it doesn't represent our beautiful island, Jamaica, land of food and water. Our craft stands out more than any other island.
This reminds me of our conversations we've had over the years with the farmers when they were asking who's responsible for the carrots coming in, who's responsible for the onions coming in. Well, you understand? And we see what has happened to the agricultural sector as far as that is concerned, regardless of what persons say. That the unfair competition, it's in the fine print. They have to allow them in because it's in the fine print of the IMF deals and so on. Watch a video, Life and Death, and we see, or milk was being thrown away and so on. But back to your immediate concern, which one right now is tomorrow.
Yes.
We can try and get the mayor on the line. Shamara, let us see if we can get the mayor on the line, Mayor Harris, or anybody who's listening. Let us know. We can try and get the minister on the line. We were making some calls over the weekend to find out exactly what was happening, and we didn't get a chance to get a response because persons were where they were. But I think we need a direct comment from the mayor or the minister or somebody in authority in Montego Bay, somebody who can say something positive to 254, the representative of 254 families here in Jamaica. That is not no ordinary number. Jeep can't take care of that. These are people who have decided that they're going to create for themselves. They're creating a job for themselves. They're creating their own industry, and they're willing to take care of their life. They're willing to take care of themselves. This is not about government handout now.
Yeah.
So when you deprive 254 families of their livelihood, what are you saying to them? That they must now go sit down and depend on Jeep? That is a question I'm asking. We're going to try and get the mayor or somebody on the line. In the meantime, follow your legal advice. Don't move. Now that's the legal advice again.
Yes.
Don't move.
We're not moving. We have nothing else to live off of. And if it's going to be taken from us, that means it's our life that is taken from us. So persons, I am telling you, Anja, I am not well, and I have been down there. I go there sometimes, but I am telling you that young persons make their minds up. And today, Jamaica, you don't bet anybody. They make their mind up that if this is done, that they are willing to give up their freedom. We don't want that. We want law-abiding.
It's freedom we're fighting for. It's not freedom because this is not free.
You know what is
hurting, not freedom. Yes.
Hurting some of the vendors, and when we have our general meeting, this is what comes out. None of the craft traders have never been held in handcuff. Why should persons who have been held in handcuff determine our fate?
I'm hearing you. It's a very good question.
Why should they be allowed to determine our fate? We are not criminals. What we are doing is law-abiding citizens, abiding by rules and regulation. And that's what we want to do. We want to sign to rules and regulation. We want to sign that we'll pay our rental. But we cannot.
But you cannot sign away your freedom.
We cannot do that.
To any reasonable person, one of the reasons why this is not unique to Harbour Street craft vendors, and for persons who are listening and saying, reasonable person, one of the reasons why this is not unique to Harbour Street craft vendors, and for persons who are listening and saying, well, how do we just take this story? Because this is a story that is repeated across the craft industry in Jamaica. We know it, we can recite it. It is the same story for all the craft vendors and everybody black like me and you. That is the situation. So we understand the story. We can identify with it. We empathize and sympathize with what we're hearing from the craft vendors, and we are appealing to the authorities, to the powers that be. Here we go again, appealing. Sometimes you just have to take your right, but we're appealing to the mayor of Montego Bay. We're appealing to the Minister of Tourism to look again at this situation that is unfolding. It is not a good look. It is not a good look. Find a way to deal with this standoff. This is a stalemate. You can't ask 254 families to give up their livelihoods, as small as it is already, facing so many injustices already. You cannot ask 254 families to get up and give up their livelihood. without
and
proper
to
cause.
show that the property is really what is in view. Our counterparts at the other craft market up the road, they have been refurbished just like us. Even the other day there was a fire there, and the shops have been restored, and they were placed back into their shops without asking to sign.
So you
a
say,
contract.
so this tells you that it's a property that they're trying to deprive you of.
We know that it is the prime real estate that we were placed on by then Prime Minister Michael Manley. And when he gave that property to us, he didn't just give us as to keep, as he said, this is for you and your children, generation.
Well, Dr. Upton Blake has said that the craft market was actually built by his father, that his father owns the land, but it's run by the parish council, and that his father built the market for the craft vendors. He's saying he's... who said can't deal with that this morning? Mr. Harris? The mayor says that it's a Sunday and he can't deal with that this morning. Are you quoting the mayor right, Shamara? You told lie. The mayor did not say that. I might not have to put you on the microphone to say that because I didn't talk to the mayor. You know. Did Mayor Harris say to you that it's a Sunday and he can't deal with that this morning? You're sure the mayor said that to you? All right. Well, my broadcast assistant says, Mr. Harris, who's the mayor, says it's a Sunday and he can't deal with that this morning. Call Portia. Get the Prime Minister on the line.
That's what we are telling you, that we treated with no respect.
Yep.
He has no respect.
I apologize to everybody who's supposed to come on. Prime Eye in Ghana. My brother, you're the program director for Gold FM. We know we should have had you on the line before, but Dead White Man closed. We'll talk about it in a little while if we can. If not, we'll push it back to next week. But I know you understand, my brother, so hold on there, Prime Eye. Right now we need any minister, even the minister of
local government.
Not just local, anybody we get who want, you know. They give me one ministry when I have nothing to do with craft market. The Ministry of Youth. Any minister we get on the line now, we need somebody to come and talk to us about this. The Minister of, I was going to say entertainment, but entertainment is tourism. Call Mr. Damien Crawford if you can't get Mr. McNeil. But we need to get somebody. I'll take a break. I'll be right back. A minute now after 8 o'clock. I am very saddened by what the mayor has returned in terms of his response to the craft traders in the studio this morning. I am very, very saddened and sorry and depressed about this, but we won't be depressed for too long because the sadness and the depression is going to turn into righteous indignation in 2 minutes. We're honoring our obligation to remember Sam Sharp. We're honoring our obligation to remember Paul Bogle. We're honoring our obligation to remember Queen Nanny of the Maroons. We're honoring our obligation to remember where we're coming from. We're honoring our obligation to remember those who fought and those who died for liberation, for emancipation, 1831-32. We are honoring our obligation. And whether it is Sunday, Monday, Friday or Saturday, the people's representative, the mayor domo, has a responsibility to respond to the people, and not in this arrogant manner in terms of a note that we're getting from the mayor of Montego Bay. It's a Sunday and you can't deal with that this morning. What does that mean? It's a Sunday you have to go to church? Sundays not, mayors don't work on Sundays? Christianity has trumped, what would Jesus do? Mayor Harris? What would Jesus do? That is the question on the table. It's a Sunday. The craft traders at the Harbour Street craft market are having a problem. Mrs. Portia Simpson Miller, or anybody listening, can you respond to what's happening here? Mr. McNeil, Minister of Tourism, are you able to respond to the craft vendors? Can you come on and say to them, we will deal with this tomorrow? Can you send us a note and say we will deal with this tomorrow? Mr. Damian Crawford, are you able to say anything to the Harbour Street craft vendors who are now under threat to vacate their shops tomorrow? 254 lives don't matter? 254 lives don't matter? That is a question we're asking. 254 livelihoods. This is what we're facing right now. And the mayor sends a message to say it's a Sunday and he can't deal with that this morning. We need a moment of silence for that one, because this is death. This is the death of democracy. And this is why I say to the Press Association of Jamaica, it is not our job as journalists to guard this kind of democracy. We are here to mash down that democracy. We are here to disrupt that democracy. We are here to challenge that kind of...
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Who do we have on the line?
Damian Crawford.
Mr. Damian Crawford, thank you so much for calling. We have been trying to get you since Friday on a totally different matter, by the way. But thank you so much for...
I actually returned your call, but they said that they couldn't give me a cell, so...
Oh, I'm sorry about that. I'm going to have to text it to you or something. But anyway, I'm calling you on a different matter. We have in the studio with us the craft market, the craft traders of the Harbour Street craft market. They are being told that they have to vacate the market by tomorrow. I don't know how much you know about that situation, and what can you tell us about it?
Yeah, well, the operation in the markets actually falls in a multiplicity of units, one of which is the UDC, and the other is the parish council. Those are the major owners of market. Particularly so why it is that they have to vacate, they have to give some more information on that, but the ownership of the market really falls within the ambit of the UDC and the parish council.
All right, we do have the UDC general manager coming on this morning's program, but on a totally different matter, so we'll ask him about that. But what the president of a craft market, the Traders Association, Melody Horton, is in the studio, and you didn't mention Melody at all, the UDC. You're saying that it's a parish council that has told you to vacate by tomorrow.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Anything you wanted to...
So that particular market might be under the parish council. So it's not a matter of joint ownership, but I think there are 14 markets, and each of them operated by a particular person. So even if it's a parish council, it would be directly the Montego Bay Parish Council, as versus the Otrius Parish Council, which should operate the Otrius Craft Market.
It's the Montego Bay, the Harbour Street craft market in Montego Bay. But let me ask you this, Damian. You obviously you do not know the backstory to the Harbour Street craft market. The situation that's unfolding there.
No, I am not aware of the total situation that's unfolding there.
All right, but what we do know at this point, and what we can tell you, and we've been talking about this for the last 45 minutes, is that the traders have been asked to vacate by tomorrow.
For what reason?
Because they haven't signed a contract.
Well, I mean, they're doing business with another person, so a contract is not an unreasonable request.
Right, but there is an unreasonable clause in it that they are questioning. So what I would ask of you, and one of the reasons why we wanted somebody at your level to respond to the craft vendors, because we just got an interesting message from the mayor who says that it's a Sunday and he can't deal with that this morning. They have been talking to the mayor, just for a comment. Can you promise us here that you will look into this on behalf of the craft vendors?
Well, what we tried to do was to set up a craft council to handle these things, so that for which the craft vendors have, I think, 7 representatives.
Melody, have you spoken to the craft council?
The craft council will meet on Tuesday.
And
this is happening before Tuesday.
So why couldn't they meet before Tuesday, considering that you have this...
But today's Monday, so Tuesday is 2 days away.
Right, no, but they have to vacate by Monday.
Oh, well, why we set up this council? Because one would automatically assume that if it is that I have had a meeting with another political representative that came out unfavorable to the craft vendors, that it is because I am equally a political representative. So we set up this council that includes 7 vendors and 8 other persons, including persons from TPD, craft practitioners, and all these things, craft makers and everybody, to look into these matters and come with suggestions to us to say that this is the clause that we want to change, and for UDC, our parish council in this case, to say this is the basis of the call for the clause. There has been many unfortunate interactions between the owners of the market and the vendors within the market, because sometimes persons refuse to pay, sometimes they don't pay on time, sometimes there's a level of indiscipline that causes for the total market to suffer. And so sometimes, I don't know what exactly the clause is, and I love to hear it, what it is, but sometimes those things that seem draconian is because there's a few indisciplined persons that have made it impossible to be otherwise. So I would love to hear that, but I think that this is one of the things that the council should interact on and come to some agreement as to how they think it is fair to approach it, and not necessarily on this side of just the councillors, but a level of equilibrium that will cause for both sides to find it reasonable.
Melody?
Yes, I wouldn't agree totally with what Minister Crawford is saying. Our landlord, we have been talking to our landlord about the unfair competition that exists. Minister Crawford came himself, and Minister Crawford stood an hour or two with us, and when we spoke to him about the situation that exists, Minister Crawford advised us, and if we should follow that advice, we would have done things, but we seek to have dialogue. We have promised that we would stop going out on the street and all these things and sit around a table amicable with anybody to discuss our situation. The clause is the Minister, we are not getting any business in the craft market.
Yes.
We are not getting any business. The business is going to shops at Rosal. It is no secret.
Yeah, but that is the reality. But what is the clause?
The clause is, if I owe you 3 months' rent, my shop will be repossessed.
And now we can look at the reason why you might owe rent. And you're saying that reason is that you're not necessarily getting business to earn an income. So therefore it is difficult to have an expense, an automatic expense, if you're not earning an income. And the parish council side, they must maintain, they must do whatever to the property, including pay bills like electricity. So therefore they must be able to collect their rent. So if it is that 3 months seems unreasonable, what is a reasonable suggestion? That because they must collect rent, they can't be there indefinitely and not pay rent.
The reasonable suggestion, Minister, we are saying that somebody has to intervene and fix this bull that exists too long, that the craft traders are left out of the business. No, if you look in our other neighbors in the Bahamas, that government ensure that their natives get business before anybody else.
That is not true. Well, I visited the Bahamas, right? And one of the realities about the Bahamas is that they don't allow a certain level of automatic competition because they put the markets close to the hotels. Especially in the Bahamas. The point I'm making to you is that there are 2 different roles here. The parish council must be able to collect, unless you're saying that they might be willing to operate a free market, and that is impossible for the parish council to pay the electricity and the water and the cleanup and everything and collect no money. And if there's not a repercussion for payment, there's likely not going to be payment, even from those.
We're not asking for handout, Minister. Get us the correct way that you're saying. You know that there is a payola system. You know that we cannot keep up with it. You know everything. There is no secret, Minister. And if you turn your back to it, the minister turn his back, the mayor turn his back, what will happen to us when 3 months come? All of us is going to lose our business.
But, my darling, we're talking 2 different things. And I have made many suggestions to say how it is that it should. I don't practically feel that hotels should be allowed to sell craft. That is my own personal belief. But there has not been any policy to say that is not so. hotels, I believe, have an unfair advantage because they have proximity to the market. People are staying within the properties. If I go into a craft shop in a property, the person is encouraged to say to me, there's nothing better anywhere else. But also remember that we call a meeting of all the craft makers in Jamaica. Advertise it in the newspaper, advertise it on radio, and 3 people came. So there is also a role on the part of those who are the practitioners to participate in it, and that is why we made an authentic Jamaica brand that we said would only be sold in the craft market. 7 people applied. So there's much greater things.
Minister Crawford, obviously there is much still to work out with this situation that now faces the Harbour Street craft traders who are told that they have to vacate the shops by tomorrow. And to me, that is urgent. That's an urgent matter.
Yes, and I'm saying that matter, 3 months non-payment. You must have a deadline. You can't have a continued ability not to pay, because the person there, the parish council, have an expense. They have an expense. So why it is that there needs to be some policy directive, I feel, to encourage low-income industries. That's what I call craft, that's what I call entertainment and other activities. Industries that have limited barriers to entry so that a poor person can be an entrepreneur. The other side of the coin is that entrepreneur can't see that there's no expense. There's an expense to every type of business. And so I cannot see it's reasonable for the parish council not to be able to collect. So if it's 3 months is unreasonable, maybe because of the seasonality or whatever, is 6 months reasonable. But it can be that.
Right, which is a question that I also put on the table, and I think that this is, and the point you raised just now is the amount of time. And I think that the craft traders, you're not saying that the clause shouldn't be in terms of if you're overdue rent for a certain amount of time. It's a length of time.
In order for us to get a JTB license, there's the JTB Act, and it also states to us that we should pay our rental on time. We have no problem with that. We have no problem with that because we are making effort to pay our rent. But we are saying to the powers that be, if the situation is left
as it is,
all 254 of us, including Bill Gates if he's placed there under that condition, will find ourselves outside.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you on the other hand, though, because it seems that if you're saying based on the current situation, there should not be that clause. And I don't believe that is reasonable for the parish council. We have set up your committee to do your own marketing, to do your own suggestions of improvement of things. I have told you that I don't feel that the current setup of craft vending can work. I don't believe that the current setup of vending, where we have 14 different markets and yet still have some of the same drivers collecting $2 and $5, have fiancés and wives and sisters in the market. So it is much bigger than government intervention. Because if we say to the vendors, if we say we're building 3 major markets, 90% will revolt and say that they don't want to move. So if this council cannot find the solution, I am not sufficiently bright and uninformed to find the solution. We set up the council with all.
What would you suggest, Minister Crawford? What would you suggest that they do right now?
What they do right now? Well, what they should do right now, in my mind, is find a contract. Because if ours suggest a better clause, but there can be a non-clause. If the argument is that the parish council should not have a clause to say that there's repercussion for non-payment, I would not agree with that, and I would not support that.
So you're saying sign a contract or suggest a better clause. What is your response to that, Mr. Lewis?
Well, I'll respond to that, but I'd like to ask the minister, with due respect, sir, who is actually, do you have a regulatory board that regulates the crafts that are imported into the island that bears the name Jamaica? That is providing very unfair. As a matter of fact, I think it is fraudulent that the craft should be imported here, bearing the brand Jamaica, the name Jamaica on them, while they are produced in Indonesia or Guatemala or Cuba or India. Who regulates that at the airport or at the shipping wharf to say, no, this should not come in bearing our name. We did not produce this.
Well,
yes.
I think we're discussing two different things. Right? Again, we have a policy I can share that speaks to that we have suggested that all imported craft should have on that craft the name of the place of origin, because as you know, with the whole free trade realities, we can't really stop them from coming in. We feel that if the place of origin is obvious and permanent, that it would make it less competitive. However, many of the vendors themselves are the ones that paint on the Jamaica and imported cheap craft. That is not a reality that is enforced by any individual just willy-nilly to fight vending.
We're gonna have to pick up on that, Damien. I have to wrap the conversation. I want to thank you so much for calling in. But at the same time, though, for answering the call, I heard what you said to the traders just now. Sign the contract or suggest a better clause. Let me just ask Melody quickly. Are you against suggesting a better clause?
We have suggested a better clause.
Which is what?
To operate the facility ourselves.
Oh, so they also had that option, Mr. Crawford, which is they were given that option. The craft vendors operate the facility or the parish council. When you chose the option of operating the facility, it was pulled from the table.
I don't know what was suggested, but the craft, if I'm talking as Damien Crawford now,
yes,
not as a representative of the People's National Party, for the government, they would have to show me the ability to raise sufficient funding, because operating it isn't free to operate it. They would have to show me that, because what would happen in 6 months is that there will be a demonstration for light, there will be a demonstration for water.
That's a preconceived thought of us.
For garbage.
You underestimate us too much.
No, but I'm saying prove to me by showing me the plan. You must have a plan if you can operate it. You must can say this is our estimated expenses and this is our estimated revenue and this is the method that the revenue will be collected. Because it's no different than paying. Somebody has to pay. So if you're going to operate it yourself, how are you going to ensure collection? How much you're going to collect? And how it is going to be maintained. That is not an unreasonable.
But
let me get a question. Let me get a question in. Melody, Mr. Crawford has said, sign the contract or suggest a better clause. All right, that is not a clause for the contract itself in terms of the payment of rent. Are you against suggesting a better clause? Whether it's 6 months.
They're saying that they won't pay the rent, but they'll operate.
Is the rent off the table? Is that clause off the table altogether? You don't want that in the contract at all. That's what you're saying. You don't want that in the contract.
Then they couldn't pay rent.
No, I don't mean from that. I mean as it stands now, because I'm still saying that you have been told that you have to leave tomorrow.
Yes.
And it is because the contract has not been signed.
Yes.
Are you again suggesting a better clause?
I think sorry. My understanding is the better clause is that the parish council allows the vendors to operate it self-financed. Am I correct, Melody?
Yes.
Right. So that is the clause. That there will be no contract between them and the parish council because they would be sole operators.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that for me to agree and to also to fight for that on their behalf, I would have to be convinced that they are able to raise the funds necessary to think they'll have to show me the plan.
That's reasonable.
All right. I'm so sorry that we have to leave it here. Thank you very much, Damien Crawford, and we'll definitely be calling you back on another matter. Thank you so much. All right. Where do we go from here? What's the final thing that you want to say about this? I understand the mayor is on the line, right? We're just a few minutes away from the Supreme Ventures, the cash pot draw. we can take the mayor and just ask him to hold while we take the cash pot draw. Do you want to do that, Shamara? But in the meantime, having heard the minister, is anything clearer to you?
It's not clear. It's just like the minister saying that we should not sell elephants and giraffes. We are from Africa. We have all these things in our mind when we were taken from Africa. And if we sit down and remember about them, we are going to carve them. People from all over will come to you with a request to carve anything. The minister needs to get more involved and know what is really happening instead of listening to preconceived thoughts against us. We are people who know our business. We have been running it ourselves. We are the best finance ministers ever because out of nothing, we survive. Lawyers, doctors, and teachers, nurses.
Hold on a minute. Let me go to Mayor Harris. Mayor Harris, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us, sir, on this Sunday morning.
Morning, dear listeners.
Morning. I don't know if you're privy to the conversation. The Harbour Street craft traders are here in the studio. They have been given notice to leave by tomorrow. Can you comment on that? And let me just say to you that while you're online, we might have to go to this the cash pot draw. We'll ask you to hold and come right back. Is that okay?
Okay.
All right. Go ahead, Mayor Harris.
I wasn't privy to the conversation.
Yes.
I actually, the phone woke me up.
Oh, okay. All right.
Because yesterday was my wife's birthday, and we had a lovely day.
Okay. All right. Yes. Happy belated birthday to your wife. Yes. All right. So, go ahead.
What I'm understanding is that some persons are not hearing properly. The simple thing is that the place was taken over, handed to the contractor, for the contractor to do the renovations. We got note that from TPDCO that the contractor is finished and they want to hand back over the place to us. To hand it over, naturally, the superintendent of roads and works would have to go in and inspect the place so that he knows what he's taking over. If there are any defects, any work that should have been done that is not done, and so on, and then take it over, and then we can hand it to the vendors. What has happened is that persons have moved into the shop before that process. What we are saying is that they have to make the place available that the inspection can be done so we know exactly what we have taken over and what we are giving the vendors. Is there anything difficult in that to understand?
So is it not connected at all to the fact that they have not signed a contract?
The first thing would be that we would have to take over the shop from the contractor. So that's the first thing.
Yes. So the fact that... yes, go ahead.
Then for the vendors to re-enter the shop, the president, myself and others sat down and she has been complaining about what is happening in the market and indicated to me that the things that are happening there cannot continue. So when the shops were to be repaired, we sat down and the decision was that persons would have to meet all the criteria before they can re-enter into the shop. She recommended that to me.
Mayor Harris, Mayor Harris, can you hold the line for me, or do you want us to call you right back after the cash pot draw?
Oh, you can call me back.
All right, thanks so much. 8:34, and we're going to go back quickly to the telephone lines where the Mayor of Montego Bay, Mayor Harris, is standing by responding to the Harbour Street craft traders who are in the studio, who are very concerned that they have been told that they have to vacate the shops by tomorrow, which is Monday. Mayor Harris, are you still with us?
Yeah, I'm telling.
All right. Thank you so much, sir. All right. So you were saying that there might be a misunderstanding as to why the craft vendors.
Basically, dealing with the president. I know it is not a misunderstanding. It is just a typical president.
Well, the president is here in the studio, Melody Horton, and there are others with her who. Have they all misunderstood? Then you're saying the president hasn't misunderstood, but here you have two other persons.
It is clear what I said. What I said is that we had a meeting on Thursday afternoon, and the understanding is that they have to, the shops that were renovated, those persons will have to give way so that the inspection can be done.
So, Mayor, can they just, come out, move out for a day and or 3 days, however long the inspection take, and then, but do they have to?
We were just thinking of the day.
Right, but they're talking about padlocks and all of that. Do you understand that it's just for the day, Melody? That you're asked to vacate just for the day?
We were told that after the shops were inspected, his worship is going to padlock them, give the key to Mrs. Marsh, and if we don't sign the contract, we will not return to the shops.
Mr. Harris?
Yeah, so they have a problem with that.
Apparently.
They can't get it back same day.
No, what she's saying. What she's saying is that they were also told that once the inspection is done, if the contracts are not signed, then the shops will be padlocked until the contracts are signed. But they have an issue.
You inspect that shop.
Yes.
You padlock it, right? So that is signed off on. The understanding that Melody recommended to us is that persons does not go back in the shop unless they have all the requisite things and sign their contract. That was an agreement that we said.
That's
right?
not true.
And I am sure that I'm not on the Alzheimer's list.
That's
and
not
I don't
true.
change my word.
That's not true.
What is true?
All the vendors must abide by the rules and regulations, have their JTB license. How can I ask to sign a contract that I know that the business is not forthcoming? It's not like the mayor who is championing the cause for the civic center to send visitors there. If you go to the civic center when a cruise ship is in, the entire Sam Drive Square is full of visitors. The craft markets are empty. How could I agree with anybody? Even in my dying stage, even in a grave line.
It's full of visitors and we have not yet started to market.
That's right. That's right. To show the impact that you have is worship. You have a very good impact on the transportation center.
Melanie, please.
Please what, sir?
Be truthful to your point.
I am very truthful. You are hiding behind something and I don't know what is it. Because it's worship. If you should say on here that I said a contract should be signed, you are not telling the truth. And that's a lie from the pit of hell.
I am telling you. If you don't recall, I recall.
So let me ask you this, Mr. Mayor. What happens tomorrow? Because I understand tomorrow is a date that the traders will have to vacate. What do you expect?
Tomorrow, we would love to have access to the shops that were renovated so that they can be inspected for the council to take over the shops.
And after that, what?
After that, the vendors that have met the requirement can go back in.
And the requirement includes signing the contract?
The requirement is that they ought to have their TPD license.
TPD, God does not give license. JTB license.
The JTB license. They ought to be in good standing, or there is an arrangement to bring their arrears up to date if they have any arrears.
only 25 persons owing rent out of 254.
Right. And sign an agreement that they are renting or getting the franchise to operate the shop.
And the agreement includes a clause which says that if you're 3 months in arrears,
If
then
you
the
don't
shop...
pay,
Yes.
if you don't pay at one stage, you are given a warning. If you don't pay, if it reaches a certain stage and you don't pay, you are written to. And if you reach a further stage, then the shop will be padlocked.
And then which is 3 months, and then let me ask you now, is it too late?
Is there something wrong with that?
Well, it's not. This is not about wrong or right, Mr. Mayor. It is about listening.
No,
it's about.
I believe that it is about wrong or right.
No, I don't think so, because nothing
And
is.
I would want to
No.
qualify.
Hold on. No, Mr. Mayor, hold on. Because you see, you can come up with a contract that is wrong in somebody else's eyes and right in yours, or vice versa. So it is not wrong.
Andrea,
No, but let me just ask you a question, because we just have 2 minutes to the news. I just wanted to ask you, if here we have the craft trader saying that it is that clause that they find a bit draconian because of another issue of the...
before.
No,
it existed before.
because of the issue relating to the extent to which the visitors are not necessarily going to the craft markets, but are shuttled to Rosal or wherever else that they are shuttled to. Now, my question to you is this. This seems to be the sticking point with the vendors, and the traders, and I've been talking to them all morning. Is there a way to address that, to deal with that before you move on tomorrow?
Anja, the reality is that we cannot bring the persons to the craft market. We can assist the traders in marketing it if it is at the level and if they have met the requirement.
Would that help?
Right now, my understanding is that the Old Fort craft market is marketed on the ship, right? And because the Harbour Street craft market have not paid their fee to the Cruise Ship Association, they are not...
His Worship, you're misinformed. And that is what is happening to the St. James Parish Council. Full of hearsays, and don't speak to your members, and then you get misunderstanding.
Well, you know very well that I have an open door policy, and you and I have had...
But it's not open to your tenants down there. It's only hearsay you're coming off with.
May
Harbour Street Craft Market is the first and only craft market who has paid their fees and registered with the FCCA, and we brought on Old Fort as sister market, and that is not true. You need to get your facts right.
May I make a suggestion?
Right now,
look here, this is a statement.
We have twin. We have twin with Old Fort, and the payment was made on both Old Fort and Harbour Street
So is Harbour Street being now marketed on the cruise ships? It is?
Marketing is different from paying.
No, he's saying that, right, but is Harbour Street being marketed on the cruise ship? Do you know?
No, I don't know.
Because the mayor is suggesting that one of the reasons why the tourists might not be coming to you is because Harbour Street is not marketed. May I make a suggestion? Because we're totally out of time. We're 2 minutes from news.
And because of the behavior of some of the traders in there, which Melanie brought to my attention.
All right, let me just make a suggestion at this stage. Let us make a suggestion, which is, Mayor Harris, are you open to a conversation, a discussion? 3 people from the craft market in the studio here this morning, with 5 of them or 6 of them or however many of them tomorrow morning, and hold off on the eviction order until you've had that conversation with them.
We did not issue any eviction order.
But they're told that they have to vacate tomorrow. But can I just get that that commitment from you, Mayor?
Make the place available.
Mayor, I am hearing you, but can you meet with the vendors, the craft traders, before you move on that, making the place available? Is it possible for you to do that?
We met on Thursday evening, you know.
It obviously don't work. Is there any way, Mayor, it is your job to help to bridge a gap, you know. Even if you have to meet...
and that is what I've been trying to do.
7 times 7, Mr. Mayor. 7 times 7.
And it's more than that. It's more than that if I have to tell you the things.
No, don't tell me, Mr. Mayor, it's 8:45 and time for news. What I would want, I want, can I get a commitment from you to have a conversation?
Melanie
Don't forget Melody.
On her knees and ask God to lead her in the right direction.
Ask God to let you stop drink rum and smoke.
No. You see why this is not going anywhere? Don't take it down that road.
No, but if you are going to be telling blatant lies like that.
Mr. Mayor, it's 250 families' livelihoods are at stake. We have to leave the personalities out of it.
No,
254, right?
In it.
On Thursday when we were having the meeting, Mr. Mayor, with all due respect, you remember when we talking to you, get up and walk out and leave us and said we are flippers?
Lie.
No, we cannot continue. Listen,
Melanie.
I have to go. I am very sorry. No, this is not Melody. This is Winsome. Mr. Mayor, this is Winsome. This is Winsome. That's Winsome who just spoke to you. Mr. Mayor, you are the mayor. You are the leader in this. You are the mayor. You're not. You're at a totally different level. You are the mayor. May we have, as a people's representative, a commitment from you that, despite the personalities, that you will have another conversation with some of the 250 families from the Harbour Street before you move on the tomorrow.
I am always available.
All right, brilliant.
Always available.
Thank you very much, Mr. Mayor.
One thing I want to say to you.
Yes.
Before I go. Is that we offered that they send in a proposal that they take over the craft market and manage it, right?
Yes.
I went to that extent.
Yes. And that proposal is still on the that option is still on the table?
Of course.
All right, brilliant. No,
of course.
So you are available to meet with them before you move on tomorrow's movement?
And that is going to delay the inspection.
No, but that's all right. But can you talk to them before you move tomorrow?
I'm always available.
Do I take it that means yes, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, I am.
Okay,
brilliant. Available.
Brilliant. Is that okay with Mr. Lewis?
Yes.
Is that okay? Winsome?
Yes.
Melody?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, brilliant. Thank you so much, Mr. Mayor. I'll follow up.
Okay.
All right, Mayor Harris from Montego Bay. Thank you so much. We're totally out of time. Thank you so much. All right, we're standing by for news. Sherry has been here, actually, with the news. So, Sherry, let me just give you some time to settle in and take a few ads. We apologize for the late start of the news.
This is news from IRI FM, Jamaica's non-aligned news voice.
Good morning. I am Cherie Hay with the local and international headlines. The Jamaica Urban Transit Company, JUTC, says today is the final day when it will offer a reduced price for the replacement of smarter cards for concession passengers. The state-owned bus company reduced the price for replacement cards for concession passengers from $500 to $200 a week ago. This was in order to facilitate those concession passengers who had lost or damaged their smarter cards. The JUTC is reminding concession passengers that in order to access the concession fares, they must have their own smarter card. The company is also appealing to all its concession passengers who have not gotten their smarter card to do so now. Chinese construction firm, the China Harbour Engineering Company, CHEC, says it is looking into why workers attached to the Wakefield leg of the North-South Highway walked off the job yesterday. The over 100 employees who work on the Bogwalk to Treadway section of the roadway are protesting over several anomalies in their payment on the salaries. The workers say they are remaining off the job until the matter is rectified. 3 brothers who allegedly firebombed a house 4 years ago in Portmore, St. Catherine are to stand a trial in the St. Catherine Circuit Court on Friday, on February 9. They are Nathan, Hubert, and Alexander Parry, all of Gregory Park in St. Catherine. When the case was mentioned in court on Friday, Justice Bertram Morrison told the defense that the new date will be a priority date. Allegations are that in 2010, the brothers went to a property in Cedar Grove, Portmore, where they firebombed a house. The St. James Police have arrested one man in connection with the seizure of what is suspected to be an illegal firearm in Green Pond, Mount Salem yesterday. Reports from the Mount Salem Police are that officers were on patrol in the area when they observed a man throw an object on the ground after seeing the police party. The police say when they investigated, the object was found to be a Smith & Wesson .38 firearm containing 6 rounds of ammunition. The man was taken into police custody. And in news overseas, huge crowds and some 40 world leaders have gathered in Paris, France for a unity march after 17 people were killed during 3 days of deadly attacks. More than 1 million marchers are expected to take to the streets. Police are seeking accomplices of the gunmen who attacked satirical magazine Charlie Hebdo and a kosher supermarket. Ahead of the rally, a video emerged appearing to show the supermarket gunman pledging allegiance to militant group Islamic State. Finally, Nigerian officials say a suicide bomb blast at a crowded market in northeastern Nigeria, which killed at least 16 people, was set off by a girl believed to be about 10 years old. A police officer told Reuters news agency that explosive devices were wrapped around her body. A witness to the explosion in Maiduguri yesterday told the French news agency that the blast happened as the girl was being searched at the entrance to the market. He said he doubted if she knew what was strapped to her body, adding that he was pretty sure the bomb was remotely controlled. About 20 people were wounded in the blast. And those were the local and international headlines. News is next at 11:45. You can go online to irfm.net to view some of the stories. Like us on facebook.com/irfm news. And you may also follow us on Twitter at irfm_news. From the IRFM newsroom, I am Cherie Hay.
Use clothes, and I suppose a lot of persons have seen the documentary now that was carried on the BBC about this used clothes situation. Used clothes from Europe, which are sent to the charity shops, from underwear to outerwear and everything in between. And thank you so much, Sister P, for bringing my attention to this again, that we're looking to it. It's a frightening situation, an alarming situation. And also, I think there needs to be some breaks on this one, Ghana. So Ghana is now the biggest importer of wear and left clothes, used clothes from people, from white people, from England and from Europe and so on, that are clothes sent to the charity shops that somehow end up in Ghana, in the deepest rural area, most rural area of Ghana. And so a few things are happening. One, Ghanaians are shedding their kente cloths and their African prints for used clothes. They call it Obuno Wawo, dead white man's clothes. That's what it means. So they're shedding their African prints and their kente cloths and so on for dead white man's clothes. So that is one thing. Another thing that's happening is that it's a billion, with a B, $1 billion industry. As a result of that, the manufacturing sector as it regards cloth and clothing and so on in Ghana is suffering, and a lot of the manufacturers are shutting down, the handmade kente cloths and so on, not selling as much. So there's an issue there in Ghana regarding the manufacturing clothes industry. And then there is all that thing of African pride. And there is the other thing of, where do we stop? If it's not China flooding the markets of a continent of Africa and Jamaica with cheap products from that country. We heard the craft traders here this morning. And then it is Ghana, which is, one of the country that so many of us in the West look up to in terms of going back to Africa. When you talk about Ghana, it's like a standard. It is the Black Star, for crying out loud. And this is what is happening there. So quite a few issues to deal with when we're looking at Obuno Wawo. Obuno Wawo, of course, meaning dead white man's clothes. Wanted to talk about that this morning. Won't be able to. We're having difficulty keeping Prime Eye on the line. And so Prime Eye, we'll push that back for next week because it is something that we can continue to talk about next week. And we want to go to Sister to Nana Erna Brodba in Woodside to talk about the upcoming event for next week. For this week, Tuesday. That's Monday, then Tuesday in Woodside, right after this. All right, we're back with you inside of the Africa Forum. It's Running African. We're going to be going to Woodside to speak with Nana, Dr. Erna Broadba, about the upcoming event scheduled for Tuesday in Woodside. And we've been talking about that, the Jamaica National Heritage Trust naming 4 different areas in Woodside National Heritage Sites, protected areas. Dr. Broadba joins me on the phone lines. Good morning, Nana.
Good morning. How are you doing?
I am well, thank you. How are you?
Well, I'm all right, my dear. I'm eating my own eggs.
That sounds good. That sounds good. So let me just apologize, Nana, because we were supposed to link with you earlier, but we ran a bit late because of the craft vendor situation.
Yes, I was hearing it.
That went over time. I hope that they're able to sort that one out. Nana, so we're looking forward to Tuesday. We have been talking about this. Just a quick backstory for those persons who didn't get it when we spoke last time, if they're just joining us for the first time. The Jamaica National Heritage Trust, how did this come about that the Heritage Trust has now decided to name 4 areas in the Woodside area as heritage sites?
Well, I suppose we in Woodside really started because we had this educational tourism product, and we would have students who come in from abroad, and we had a tour guide who would take them. And people in the district knew their history. I don't know if they still do. So they knew the meaning of the Great House, ex-Great House, and they knew the meaning of Daddy Rock and things like that.
Yes.
So we started it, and then I think I appealed to the National Heritage Trust. The head of it, the chairman, came here many years before, and liked what he saw. And so when the others like Gail,
Leslie
started the pushing,
yes,
there was already support at the top.
Yes.
So eventually these 4 areas are going to be declared. But before they are declared, the trust needs to talk to the people of Woodside. And they're hoping that there'll be a great number of Woodside people who will be coming to hear why their areas have been so selected, and what it can do for them as a village.
So, this is going to happen on Tuesday.
This is going to happen on Tuesday, beginning at 11 o'clock.
11 a.m. Where?
At the community center.
Right. And we're expecting that, all of it, the community, Woodside community, Rock Spring, my mother split them up, so that's why I'm doing this, because I know there's some people looking at them differently. So Rock Spring, Woodside, and adjoining communities, that people will come in and listen to what the Jamaica...
Come in and listen to what, and hopefully ask questions. I'd love to hear them asking questions. I'm putting the trust on its feet, so it can answer questions. There are many questions that people have in their minds to answer, to get answers to. I'm hoping that they will ask these questions, and that the trust will have answers.
So there will be representatives from the Jamaica National Heritage Trust.
Yes. It is they who asked for this meeting.
Right, okay.
They will be hearing their numbers, and I imagine that the political representatives will be here as well. And if anybody has economic interest in the area, that they will be here as well. Everyone is invited. And of course, the village is selling, the young people in the village are selling heritage food. As far as I know, it's roast breadfruit and rundown. And you have the usual blue draws and drops and ginger beer, and I think sorrel too, and stuff like that. So,
even though this is happening, it sounds really good. And even though this is happening in the Woodside community, this is happening in that area, it is good for other communities to come into, for other people from other communities to come into, to ask some of these very same questions, especially.
Yes. Because even take the one of the Sultan, which I'm now calling Atabe, the Taino relic. Up in Cairn Hall, from a long time, I was hearing about caves there with drawings, So there's a lot to be excavated. But the trust can't stay up there, and no, people have to inform them.
Right, and the thing about it is that we get so many of these calls from across Jamaica, persons telling us that, I have something in my area, and we always point people to the National Heritage Trust. What I would do too is to invite some of those very same persons from across Jamaica who have always been saying that to come in and listen to what the Heritage Trust is saying and to also ask questions possibly about your own area and what you're seeing.
Well, thank you for inviting them, letting them know that this is happening, and they can come in and ask their questions.
Yes. All right. So we are definitely going to be there. I will be there, and it's Tuesday, this Tuesday the 11th. Sorry, the 13th.
Come a little earlier than 11.
The 13th at 11 a.m. So you want us to be there a little bit earlier than 11?
I want you to be here a little earlier than that.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, definitely. Well, yes, I'll do that.
Because I think it's a time to put forward the people, the descendants, whom, whether they know it or not, have kept the history alive.
Yes.
So I want to be focusing on the descendants.
All right. So once again, we invite the entire community, come out, be at the Woodside Community Center, 4:11 a.m. on Tuesday, where the Jamaica National Heritage Trust will be talking about the plans that they have to name these heritage sites. But it's a process. The naming is a process, as we heard the last time, Nana.
Yes, I hear that it is everything is now sealed and signed.
Okay.
But the only thing really left is for it to be gazetted.
Okay. All right. Brilliant. All right. So look forward to seeing you on Tuesday. I'll definitely be there as early as possible. And once again to meet with the community and to touch base with my roots too.
Well, definitely we have you seated up. As you said,
yes, thank you so much.
Tag. Yes. Your name tag is waiting here for you.
All right, I will be there, definitely. I'm looking
why
forward.
we need you a little bit earlier, 10:30, so you can be seated.
Yes. All right.
Seating you descendants.
All right. Okay. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nana.
All right then. Good then.
All right. Okay. See you Tuesday, Nana, Dr. Erna Bodber there. And it's exciting time for the people of Woodside and for St. Mary and, for that entire area. So if you're from Rock Spring, Hopewell, Woodside, Fraserwood, Richmond, Karen Hall, Windsor Castle, all of that area, and then some, Highgate, make your way to the Woodside Community Center on Tuesday at 11 a.m., where we're meeting, the Jamaica National Heritage Trust will be meeting with the community and the adjoining communities to talk about the heritage sites that will be named and all the attendant issues that will arise as such. Good. We're seeing ecotourism. We're talking about tourism on a wider scale and so on. People have business interests. This is very, very good news for the community. Let us not waste it. Quick break. We'll be right back. Did you hear the extent to which I stressed Desmond? No mistakes this morning. All right. Thank you so much for joining. First thing, Mr. Malcolm, I've been getting lots of, notes, whether it's on social media or just telephone calls from so many listeners across Jamaica, but they're pointing specifically at something that's happening in Negril regarding the beaches. And I thought maybe you can help us to understand whether or not there is a move in Negril to privatize beaches, or is it something that the UDC knows about working on? What's happening with the beaches in Negril? Can you say?
Well, I can speak first of the beaches are the properties which have a foreshore that links to the foreshore in Negril, and we have two large properties there, and they have been converted a long time ago as public beaches.
Yes.
And we have amenities there, showers, etc., parking, and the fee for use of these amenities. That's what we do. We have to cover our costs. Range from $250 for adults to $100 for children. And that is part of UDC's contribution and trust to enable Jamaicans visitors to have access to public bathing beaches. As far as the other beaches are concerned, it's something that the UDC does not control, and I think Metro and the local authorities themselves need to speak to those. I know in Negril, when it was developed, there were supposed to be about 6 or so pathways to the beach. And I want to specify beach. Beach, public
access is that area referred to as the high water mark. And the idea is that persons are allowed to access and use the beaches up to the high water mark. Now, beyond the high water mark, sometimes the property belongs to private persons. So it's a question, are you allowed to walk through private properties to the beach? And this is why the idea of having paths to these beaches was part of government policy.
And what has happened to that policy? Is it still in effect? Why do we get the impression that it really isn't?
One of the reasons that perhaps they're not properly identified. I know early, I'm from Westmoreland, and early there were markers, but I think over the years, when you drive by, you really don't see them. People will tell you that they're there, but you don't see them. Sometimes I think the paths are not properly maintained. Sometimes you even have private persons who actually start commercial activities in the pathways. So something needs to be done to reestablish these pathways and to maintain them.
And you say something needs to be done. Is anything being done? Is it the UDC's purview, or is it NEPA who should do something?
It's within NEPA and the local authority. They have a Negril authority. You have the local government. You have the Ministry of Tourism. They're the person responsible to ensure that these pathways are maintained. Of course, UDC will help, but we have properties there, and what we ensure is that the public have access to those public beaches.
The beach in sort of before I move on from Negril. So the concern that, and I haven't been there, so I'm not quite sure what area that the listeners are talking about, but you seem to have some idea of what's happening there.
The UDC owns and operates two private bathing beaches. Also, there is another bathing beach in Negril, which is now being rehabilitated for public use, and the UDC is involved in that in terms of the design. It's the first beach when you enter, say, Negril from Savlamar. Once you get to the roundabout and you start to go on the normal London Boulevard, it's the first beach to the left.
Yes.
It's still a public beach. A lot of people go there, and there's no problem with access to that beach. We have problems, however, in access to the beach once you start to go up where the hotels are. So I think there's some issues there relating to access through the pathways to the beach.
And those you say can be sorted out?
Yes.
All right. Well, we're coming on to Negril shortly, so I'll just, take a drive around and see for myself, and then we'll just double back with you. In Montego Bay, there's a concern raised about the Cornwall Beach. Is it now privatized?
No, not to my knowledge. Again, Cornwall Beach is not privatized. I believe the Cornwall Beach is regulated by, again, the local authority, the parish council.
Right. Well, we heard it's Decameron who now operates the Cornwall Beach, and that the price, the entry fee has moved from $500 to $1,500.
I'm not aware of what is happening there. I can tell you there is a beach I think referred to as the Dead End Beach. I know persons access that beach using the roadway up to that area where it was blocked off because it was in a part of aircraft landing. So that beach is being accessed by persons.
All right. So is this different from the Decameron Beach, which we know as a Cornwall Beach?
I really don't know. I can't speak to that. I could do some research and perhaps be able to.
I'd appreciate that.
I'm interested in what is going on there because, UDC, we have an interest in Montego Bay.
Yes.
There was a lot of activity by the UDC to be part of the redevelopment of Montego Bay, particularly the foreshore.
Okay.
So I will check that out and find out what's going on there.
I'd really appreciate that. Can you give us an update on the Winifred Beach in terms of what the UDC is doing now and with the Winifred Benevolent Society? Is there any movement on that?
I plan to have a stakeholders meeting in February. And we're going to plan it so that we can have a stakeholder meeting in terms of discussions in terms of the way forward.
Yes.
The intention of UDC is to develop the property, part of it, into a public beach, consistent with the agreement, the consent, and we all agree that UDC will continue to maintain that facility and develop it as a public beach, similar to Fort Clarence and the ones we have in Negril.
Mm-hmm.
So the first thing we want to do is to have sit down and have discussions. And in the meantime, there is no restriction from UDC for persons to use the pathways to the beach. What I want to emphasize, however, is that UDC owns the land, and there can be no development, no structures put on the beach without the agreement and consent of the UDC.
What about the structures that are currently there?
What
about the structures that are currently there?
We will not do anything with that because we don't want to. I think what is there is inadequate, and this part of the stakeholder meeting is to discuss how we can move from where we are, upgrade it, and then at some point we will share with the stakeholders the comprehensive development plan for the lands adjoining the beach.
Mm-hmm. And while I have you on the phone, Mr. Desmond Malcolm, I have two more questions. One to do with Fisherman's Beach. Can you give us an update on that? Because I know that the fishermen were told that this is going to be developed. We've had conversations on this. I don't think anything is finalized in terms of what's happening with Fisherman's Beach. What can you tell us? Therese here.
Fisherman's Beach, you know that the UDC, there was some understanding, and I think it's not an understanding, there was some kind of commitment for the UDC to assist fishermen. And fishermen, they were identified. We're speaking about fishermen.
Yes.
To have that established as a proper fishing village.
Mm-hmm.
Of course, that comes, I think, with some kind of commercial activities to complete the activities, because the fishermen catch fish, and then there are persons involved in frying the fish, establishing small restaurants. We want to continue that, but there were some issues relating to safety, and persons who are not necessarily engaged in fishermen that were there and were causing some concerns with respect to the tourism trade, the local trade. There were instances there where we had several reports from visitors and Jamaicans that there were hassles, there were incidents there of robbery, peddling of undesirable stuff. So what we want to do and we plan to do is to collaborate with the PAJ, the tourism fund, and to develop the facility into something that we can all be proud of. We want to upgrade it. We want to put in proper sanitary convenience and ensure that the fisher folks will be part of the development. We are not sure that everybody will participate because persons, we want to increase or improve the standard there. Of course, persons who are going to be allowed to have businesses there, it's going to come with some kind of fee. We're not talking about anything exorbitant, but persons will have to contribute. We intend to upgrade it, and that the fisher folks are involved in the development and enjoy the output.
So I hear you saying that there will be meetings with the fisher folk on the beach throughout that entire process.
Yes, in fact, a meeting is planned either later on this January, a town hall meeting with all the political and all the groups in Ottawa very, very soon. We're hoping to have one early January, but it seems to me it's going to be late in January.
All right, and then February for for Winifred Beach. Thank you so much, Mr. Desmond Malcolm. We'll keep in touch with you as things develop, because we heard the Minister of Tourism talked about, making beaches more accessible and the plans that were in place. We also heard Mr. Ian Hills in Parliament making a similar comment. We've had NEPA in this space saying that there are going to be consultations across Jamaica, read the Beach Act and so on. But things seem to be moving very slow. So I think, we need to at least know what's happening, how and where, and what our stake in all of this is as Jamaican citizens.
I'm gonna, I personally appreciate what you're doing, and I just want to continue to do that on behalf of the people. Okay?
Thank you very much, Mr. Desmond Malcolm. Thank you so much, sir. The General Manager of the UDC there, Mr. Desmond Malcolm. Gwede Mantashe called every jack and Jill and hooligans as the governing party celebrates its 103rd birthday in opposition-controlled Cape Town with a rally on Saturday. So it was a massive rally, and, I found myself looking back and looking forward, because, we Sankofa, we look back to go forward, and ask myself some questions about the ANC. I remember the discussions we had on the willing buyer, willing seller. Do you remember that? In 1990, we were talking so much about willing buyer, willing seller. And it appears that willing buyer, willing seller is taking much, much too long. So 103 years of the ANC, and we still have landlessness and almost a kind of a hopelessness among the majority black people in South Africa. As a matter of fact, there are many within the ANC who have become filthy rich, and we're talking people like Cyril Ramaphosa and so on, and you're wondering, how come, how so? What has happened to the dream, the vision, and of freedom, of liberation for all? And is the ANC, after 103 years, now co-opted by the capitalistic white South African government? And are they, in fact, holding up the white institutions so that apartheid is dead? Long live apartheid, Economic prosperity in South Africa among black people, it's for the select few, like Cyril Ramaphosa, and there's a black elitist kind of thing that's happening in South Africa that is frightening in the 103rd year of the African National Congress, and we must call it. We have to call it. I don't see how else we're going to go about this. We can celebrate the ANC, but we must call the problems, which are many in the 103rd year of the African National Congress. The ANC, there is a gap, and it's an integration gap, because now you're reaching out to reclaim the Freedom Charter, which says South Africa belongs to all of us, black or white, and all of us that live in it, so that those who are born post-apartheid and born within the Freedom Charter years have not been, the idea of freedom, of emancipation, of a struggle, of where we have come from. So many years. Today, for example, represent the anniversary of the Zulu Wars against the British. And just on Saturday, Thursday, we celebrated 103 years of the African National Congress. But there is an integration trap that Obati Shaka talks about, and a generation gap. So that it makes you wonder what young South Africans are being taught, so that we can learn something from Israel. We can learn something from those, from the Holocaust, when we talk to our children about who we are, where we're coming from, what we need to do to preserve, and what we need to do to ensure that it does not happen again. So we're very concerned about the ANC. Also, lots of persons without jobs, homes, toilets, water, electricity. So we do have that problem. You know, it's for me, 103 years, there's not much to celebrate. The ANC finds itself begging and pleading with China, with the IMF, 103 years into the African National Congress. The economy is still controlled by white apartheid legacy. What about shaping our own destiny? Owning South Africa instead of talking about the Freedom Charter. The Freedom Charter is an interesting thing, and the idea of going back to the Freedom Charter is an interesting thing. But when you talk about South Africa belongs to all of us, you know, you've lost me, really. Lots of empty stomachs. Lots of empty stomachs. But there's still a black elite in South Africa, and this is where there is the conflict. The victims of apartheid are still awaiting grants, which are locked up in so-called presidential fund. African nationals in South Africa are being singled out for humiliation, for death by fire. They're dragged behind cars. You know, they're pissed upon. They're locked up in subhuman conditions only because they're black. So South Africa is instituting an immigration law which is ensuring that other black people from the continent of Africa do not stay or visit South Africa for too long. And it's a disgrace, 103 years after the African National Congress. So yes, let us celebrate the ANC and the fight against apartheid. But let us ask ourselves a question about what has happened to the ANC and why is it that the vision is wrinkling up and dying like a raisin in the sun. Let us ask ourselves what has happened to the African National Congress. How come Cyril Ramaphosa? How come such corruption in South Africa? And sometimes you feel like you shouldn't be talking this way, and I'm feeling that way right now. It's difficult, but it is, for me, there is no other way than to say the truth of what I see. And even though it pains me to open it up and put it down and look at it and call it what it is, I cannot, in all fairness and in honoring my moral obligation to remember, celebrate either reconciliation or the African National Congress 103 years after, and it is a shame. Black South African children still have to be bused to so-called white schools if they want higher standard education in South Africa. There is landlessness in South Africa. The ghettos remain in South Africa. It is 103 years of the ANC. We're running up and down singing and dancing to every, the big drum and the small drum and the in-between drum. But what about the politics of it, the economics of it, the social issues of it? Something has gone terribly wrong in South Africa. On another matter, quickly, because we have just a few minutes to go, you might have heard by now, because we mentioned last week that scientists at Oxford University have begun immunizing healthy volunteers with new Ebola vaccines, and that the latest trial involves 72 volunteers aged 18 to 50. And we're also hearing now that the first large-scale Ebola vaccine trials are taking place in West Africa. They are expected to start full-scale in Liberia in a few days' time. The WHO says that no less than 9,000 people are expected to take part in the study on the chimpanzee adenovirus vaccine. We're going to be following up that. And once again, I say you bring them to their knees and then you vaccinate them. The amount of persons who are involved in developing this vaccine, let me see, GlaxoSmithKline is there, China is there, India is there. I mean, everybody is there apart from Africa. Africa is a guinea pig, and everybody else have them scientists developing vaccine. And I don't see no vaccine being developed in Africa or in any other African diaspora country. In Guinea, researchers plan to immunize groups of people who are connected to Ebola patients. And Merck is in there, GlaxoSmithKline is in there. Who else? Let me see. VSV, Switzerland is in there. Everybody and them wife and children developing vaccines for Ebola, and the guinea pigs for the Ebola vaccines are in Africa. You think so? You listen. It's not as simple as it seems. You know, bring Africa to its knees. and then vaccinate them and let them stand up to you. Not to you, but bow to you. All right. And at the same time, the WHO is reporting, and they've had this report out for a while, that we're heading towards a post-antibiotic era, which simply means that it's a period in which common bacteria achieve resistance to a variety of antibiotics and become untreatable. The risk will be equal across age, gender, and geographic location, so that diseases that were treatable before with antibiotics, penicillin, and so on, are becoming resistant. And they're naming out some of those countries. Resistance to the last resort treatment, resistance to all kinds of antibiotics. So on the 8th of April, 2014, South African Health Director General Precious Matsoso said the emergence of superbugs immune to medicine is worse than AIDS. And we see that on the April 30, 2014, in the Daily Digest News, antimicrobial resistance poses a major public health threat and may throw the global population into a post-antibiotic era marked by common infections and minor injuries becoming lethal. We're watching that. We hear that there's a new antibiotic that has been developed from dirt, but the jury's out on that one. I'm reading some of the comments and some of the reports on that. We'll keep you updated on that. We're going to be actually talking to a microbiologist about what this means, because we heard it months ago, a long time as a matter of fact. We heard that gonorrhea, for example, there was a problem because the gonorrhea, a new strain of gonorrhea, was resistant to antibiotics, and everyone